Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Awesome.
good. I'm in. So now I can I can switch back and forth. Private chat would just be between us three, and then live comments.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, so there's an echo.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay,
Awesome.
good.
Oh, wow.
I'm in.
So
Now I can
slight echo
I
there.
can switch back and forth. Private chat would just.
Okay, so there's an echo.
Okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Ye- Okay, so I'm assuming everybody was able to remote check in through the PDS system. Anybody having trouble? If you're having trouble checking in, let me know. If you are okay with checking in, don't worry about it. You don't have to post anything. The remote check-in is on the side of the screen. It's also at the bottom. It's that little ticker at the bottom. It gives you the remote code. Remote code.
Did Miss Bettis get in?
Not yet.
Okay.
Remote code.
Did Miss Bettis get in? Oh, it's a little
Not
delayed. Okay.
Yeah, if you have the YouTube stream, turn that one off.
Me? Okay.
Yeah,
How do I do that?
so you should only be on StreamYard, not YouTube.
Oh, so I need to go back and log out of that one, no?
You can just close it.
Okay, let me. Me? Okay.
Yeah,
How do I do that?
so you should only be on StreamYard.
Oh, so I need to go back and log out of that one, no?
You can just close it.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, no one told me I had to quit.
All right, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm trying to. How do I log out of the other one? Because I logged into the other one first. Oh, wait a minute. I see. Done. Okay, I'm trying to see this bed is.
All right, well, it's 10. Ms. Garza, would you like to begin with some words?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hopefully, everyone has made it in. Make sure, again, the remote check in is scrolling in the ticker right below the screen. So please make sure that you've done that. That is the only way you're going to receive credit for it. That's the only way you're going to receive credit for attending. So, because we don't have any other sign in, it's only the remote check in. If you are registered on PDS, please go there right now if you haven't done so and enter the remote check-in code that is right there, 202890. This is a new way of presenting. I think it allows everyone to have comments and chat as opposed to the other one that had a limit. So hopefully we will get going, I guess in a couple of minutes or so. So thank you for joining us again. And today's topic is Google Hangouts Meets the Basics. So if you have any questions, please make sure you post them in the chat. So welcome, everyone.
Awesome, great. Okay, so let's start with some Google Hangouts. Before we begin, allow me to introduce myself. I am Mr. G. I am a teacher at What is Lincoln High School. I am also a Google for Education certified trainer, as well as a Google Certified Educator level 1 and 2. So, let me start with some Google Hangouts. All right. That's right. And happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week as well. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so the few things that we're going to cover are Google Hangouts etiquette, how to join a meet, how to host a meet, and how to meet with students. Okay. First thing, and I already introduced myself, is going to be the 4 P's for watching instructional video. All right. And the first thing that you need to understand is whenever you're creating a video that you want to play. Yeah, I hear lots of echo too. Okay, so let me do something real quick. Let me see if I can get rid of that echo. Testing 1, 2. I think that got rid of the echo. Now let me see if I can do this again. Okay. So, where was I? Excuse me for this minor technical difficulties. I will be correcting this momentarily. And thank you for your patience as I am trying to get this fixed. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so on the side, I'm going to be having my wife monitor the chat as well. So thank you, Mrs. Garza, my wife. There's also this way, Mrs. Garza, my technology director. She will be here with me as well. Okay. There's too many Garzas here. Or never enough, depends how you look at it.
True that. Miss Bettis will be joining us in a little bit as well.
Awesome. All right, so that way it balances off all the Garzas we have in this.
True.
Okay, so back to my introduction. There it is. I had already introduced myself, so I'm going to move on with the 4 piece of instructional videos. This is something that you may want to let your students know whenever you create your videos for asynchronous learning. Asynchronous learning means that you create a video, students learn at different times, let's call it self-paced. And one of the things that need to be explained is that don't play the video all the way through. Make sure that you pause the video, probe or review what was covered, and then perform or create the action. Then once you're done, then continue playing the video. This is going to be true for any video that you are reviewing. The videos that we create are not meant to be watched in one sitting unless you're watching live. If it's a recorded video, this is how it needs to be watched. Pause, probe, perform, and play. That said, for Google Hangouts, the technology required will be either a computer with a Chrome browser or a mobile device with the Google Meet app. You could also join in by phone, audio only. But I will be covering all of that in a moment. The pros and cons is that I need to update this slide because one of the cons was it was going to end July 1st, but I'll talk about that in a moment. The pros is mainly it is SIPA compliant if you're using the @ljisd.com account. And at this time, I want to quickly welcome Mrs.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was a little late. The power went out and my computer was down. Sorry. Good morning.
Morning.
All right. So the cons would be is that people may or not follow etiquette, and it's something important for you to start talking with your students or with your staff when it comes to etiquette. This is how we're going to conduct the meeting. It used to be that at one point you cannot broadcast computer audio. You are able to broadcast computer audio now, but only if you're sharing a single tab. So that's one of the changes. The other one is that it was the pro version to record was going to end July 1st, but now it has been extended until August something, if I remember correctly. So the pro version includes recording and live stream. An alternative version to recording would be Screencastify if you have the pro version, or if you're going to do it under 5 minutes, which is highly unlikely, then the free version of Screencastify. But the pro version of Screencastify is very inexpensive. So it is something to keep in mind. Now, let me check the chat to see if I have any questions so far. Everybody seems to say good morning. So good morning, everybody. All right. So as far as the Hangouts Meet etiquette, this is an example. This is what I use. Just like right now, I'm the host or the presenter. I do have chat moderators. I have Mrs. Garza, the technology director. I have Miss Perez also helping me, and I also have my wife helping me on the side. So it's something to keep in mind. We'll talk about that later when it comes time to talk about hosting a meet. Using headphones is always a good idea because if you don't use headphones, sometimes you may hear that echo that you heard earlier. I was trying to figure out why, because I am using headphones, so it may have been something else. Every time you join a Google Meet, you should turn off your microphone and camera. Make any requests on the chat. And if you have any requests, or again, on the chat, that's where you would ask questions, like the question I'm providing right now. It says, is Mr. Garza currently using Screencastify to conduct this training? No, I'm using a completely separate software. So, and I can talk about that at a later point. So that would be a completely separate training. So thank you for using the chat to be able to, thank you for using the chat. Okay. The next one is, once you are told yes, you can talk, you have to turn on your microphone and camera. The camera is not required, but to talk on a meet, you would have to turn on your microphone. Okay. We're gonna move on. Google how to join a meet. For this, I'm gonna create a meet. All right, so meet.google.com. There are several ways to create a meet. Right now, I'm just gonna do a simple one. If there are several ways. One is they give you a link. You simply click on the link. Another one, they will give you a code, so you would have to type in the code. Once you type in the code, then it's gonna ask to request permission for camera and microphone. So there I am. So there's multiple instances of me. One of them is schedule. So if you have a meet, you would go to your calendar. And in Google Calendar, you're gonna notice that I have several items. And some of them are going to be Google Meets. It's taking a while to load the calendar, but just keep in mind that the meeting schedule will be there. Link, nickname, or by phone. I'm going to join this, and I will show you how else you can join by phone. So as this is loading, you're going to notice that there is a dial in and pin code. So I can literally use this to join in by phone. I'm going to mute this mic and turn off this camera to conserve bandwidth. Now I'm going to go to my Google Voice, and I'm going to copy this phone number. I should copy first the pin code, that way I have it ready. Now, Google Voice is a completely separate website. And it looks like I have some questions, so
There's people in the waiting room. Okay, I know that there was one, Miss Herrera. The link that was provided on the PDS description is the YouTube link. There was no Google Meet link at all. So if there's people waiting out there, I don't know what session they're waiting on. But if you could get a hold of them, just tell them that they need to use the link that's in the description, and the bit.ly link will lead them to this YouTube stream. The code, that's just on PDS. There's no waiting room for, that code is just on PDS, not Google Meet or anything else. I hope that you can get a hold of them and let them know. Sorry about that, sir.
thank you. No, it's something that needs to be addressed, and hopefully they can join in. So it's just like you're watching YouTube, they should be able to watch YouTube as well. As of right now, for example, I have 440 people watching this presentation, so thank you so much for being here. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, I'm going to dial this phone, and I need to have that code ready. Oh, I need to provide access to allow to my microphone. Okay, there it goes.
Are you recording this?
There we go.
Yeah. Yes, sorry to interrupt. Yes, that's a good one, Mr. Jesus Cáceres. Yes, I did email everyone that was registered by 6 yesterday, so I emailed everyone the link. It's a live link. They can just click on that email, the link there on that email. Thank you for reminding us about that.
Plus, it's also on. Oh, I see what I'm doing wrong here. *6. That mutes the microphone. Something I forgot to mention. Okay, so now that I don't have that echo, it's also on the PDS system, the link. It's a little hidden there somewhere between the giveaways and everything. And just something to keep in mind. But in either case, so I use my phone to call in a meet. Whoever's on the phone will only be able to hear and cannot see anything on this end. So that would be the other way to join in. If they give you a phone and a PIN code. Now, I'm going to hang up on this end, because one of the best ways to join a meet is not by using the computer's audio, but joining in using a phone audio. So you're going to have Google Meet call you, or you can dial in. And the reason is because you want to make sure that you have the best quality audio. What happened to me once was I was in the middle of a presentation and I was doing Google Meet. My power went down. So the only way I had to communicate with the Meet was because I was dialed in. So I had that phone call going. And thanks to that phone call, I was able to actually continue the meeting. Okay, so joining in, those are the few ways. There is a section called settings. So if we look at the settings right here, you're going to see that there is several options like a microphone. There can be several microphones here. So make sure you're choosing the correct microphone. Speaker, also, there could be several speakers like headphones or different types of speakers. Also, you may have different cameras. So under video, there could be a front camera, a back camera, especially if you're using a computer with multiple cameras like I do. The best option for you, since you want to conserve bandwidth, would be to have the lowest setting and only allowing one video at a time. This is probably the best option to conserve bandwidth, and this is something that you may want to ask students to do as well. So those are the settings for joining in a Google Meet. Now, you also have your live stream in the live.
I'm not sure how to help with that, but my team is helping me learn.
Okay, so I have a Google Home in my room, and it responds to me every time I say the word Google. And because this is a Google heavy presentation, it might be doing that often. So right now, what I was getting at is there's the live stream, which is unlike this one where you can actually chat with me. Since I'm able to chat back and forth, how would a student be able to join from Google Classroom? Yes, I'm going to cover how a student can join from Google Classroom when I start presenting how that works in a moment. First, I will need to show you how to create one in Google Classroom. But for right now, the live stream is just listening. So you're just passively listening to it. Or once the recording is completed, then you would view the recording. Okay. So let me answer this question right here. As you're presenting, you use your phone audio or as a participant too? I would suggest that both as a participant and as a presenter, you use your phone audio. It's very important because you can lose the audio. Like I lost when I was in the middle of a meet, whether you're the presenter or the audience, if your internet goes down, at least you're still dialed in. I hope I answered your question. Okay, so as far as joining a meet, just the basics of joining a meet. I'll talk about the Google Classroom aspect of it at a later point, but any questions? Only type in the chat if you have questions, and only type in the question. If you're good, don't worry about typing anything since it'll scroll down real quick. This in-service is recorded. That same link that you have up there will be the same link that is the recording. So it is recording at the same time that it is being presenting. Okay, so I'm going to continue. I will talk about Google Classroom at a later point. Hosting a meet. There are several ways to host a meet. Schedule. So at this time, I really need to open Google Calendar. The other way, I'm going to close this meet for now since I don't need it. The other way is using a code and on the fly. Okay. So pretty much on code and on the fly is the same thing. So let's start with Google Calendar. How to create a meet using Google Calendar. I'm going to create a Google Meet right here. And before I start with anything here, I'm going to click on More Options. From here, I'm going to add a title. So let's say Google EDU Q and A. Location, I would probably just type Google Meet. And notice here that it says add Google Meet video conferencing. This is the option that you need. It will automatically create a Google Meet conference. And then over here, you can add a description, add a attachments, and add links if needed. Another thing right here is on the drop down, you would have, in my case, I don't have this option, but you would have an option to create a stream. For La Jolla ISD, we have that option because I'm using my personal account to do this. It does not give me that option. But here it is, Google Meet, and then it would give you a stream. Once you create both the stream and the Meet links, here's the meeting ID for those that are going to be active participants. That means that chatting on the side and the other and talking if they need to talk. And the other one would be the stream link, which would be an extremely long URL. That one, you would have it for those that are going to be passive participants that can only listen in and view what's going on. They will not be able to chat and they will not be able to talk. After this, you would hit save. So right here, this would be like the agenda, links, if any, and attachments. I like computers because of the autocorrect feature. There we go. And after this, I would save it. Now, this is not a YouTube way of doing things. This is a Google Meet, and this is not for students yet. This is just how to host a Google Meet in general. For students, it's going to be a little bit different. As far as signing in, yes, you have to use your ljisd.com account to use Google Meet, and so will your students. Otherwise, it may get a bit complicated. Okay, so once I save it, you should be able to see the information right here, including the phone number and the PIN number. You can simply copy this and save it. Another way of doing it, if you know exactly who you're going to add as guests, you just type their information right here. So all the email addresses would go right here, and they are the guests. If you're using Google Groups, then it would be as simple as typing the group name If you're not using Google Groups, then that would be a different training. If you request it, I'll make sure it gets done. Okay, so on the with a code or on the fly, I'm gonna go to meet.google.com, and you're gonna notice that if it's already scheduled, it's right here. It's already available. So if you scheduled it and you invited me, I will automatically have it available on my Google Meet. So it would not be YouTube, it would be meet.google.com, and it will show right here because it's part of my schedule. I just simply need to click on it and it'll get me started. Now, if I want to create a meet, and again, everybody in ljsd.com would have to be on their account. If they're joining in with their Gmail instead of LJSD, then there's going to be a conflict. But you can create a meet by giving a nickname. So I'm going to call it Mr. G 2020 Meet. Now, you will notice two things. Once you create this meet, you will have the meet code on the side, all one word. But on the top, you will also have a code. So here's the nickname, and at the top, you have a code. Anybody can join using that code. Only my domain will be able to join using this code. So to ensure that only members of ljsd.com can join, you should be using the nickname approach and not the code approach. Anybody can join using this link or this code right here. Okay, so I hope that creating a Google Meet on the fly using a code makes sense. You just simply type in right here, type in that information, MRG 2020 Meet. It's very simple, and it will give you both a code for people outside and it'll give you a nickname so it stays within. Now, as you can see right there, it's asking a question. Can I repeat the Google Calendar process? And as I'm going to answer a few questions before I go back to Google Calendar. Google Group, can student roster from Google Classroom be used to create the group? Yes, but that is a different training. We can talk that either in the Q&A or I can make one specifically for Google Group. When creating Google Meets, the See Guest list is checked off. Does this option provide you with a list of those invited or of those who participate in the meet? It is only the invited people, not the ones that are participating. As to how you can take attendance, we can use a Google form. I think that's probably one of the easiest way of doing it. But we can talk about that at a later point. Let me just go over Google Calendar. There is an extension for attendance, and it's still in development, but it's not always very accurate, and it doesn't always work perfect. So if you want to make sure that it works the first time, I would suggest Google Form. Once you create it, how do I invite students? Okay, we're going to talk about students further on as far as students and Google Classroom. But for right now, just keep what I'm telling you in mind. So when we can go this route instead of scheduling on a calendar. For depends. For students, I'm going to talk later about how that is done. But for if you want to create something on the fly, just spur of the moment, yes, you can go the route that I just mentioned. I highly suggest you use the Google Calendar form because, as you can tell right here, see where how it says Google EDU Q&A. It's not at 11, by the way. That's when this one ends. The actual Google Q&A is going to be at 1:30 today. But point is, if you have it scheduled, you're going to have it right here for whoever was invited. Yes, on Google Meet, this is an excellent point. Google Meet is 250 limit for active participants, meaning people that can talk and chat. For the stream, the limit is 100,000. So if I invite, okay, I'm going to talk about how to do parent contacts if you want to do that as well. Yes, I'll talk about that right after the students. Will we have Google Form training for teachers? Ms. Perez will work on something for that. And either way, we still have the Google Q&A this afternoon in case you need more info on that. Okay, so going back to calendar. Calendar.google.com. I'm going to delete this one because I put the wrong time. That accurate time is going to be at 1:30. So first, I'm going to trash this one. And I'm going to look for 1:30, which is right here. Now I have military time, so it says 13:30, but it means 1:30 p.m. Google Q&A. I'm going to go to more options. So it gives me more information as to what I need to do. It gives me everything. Now, the location, you do not have to enter anything. However, you can just post Google Meet, see details. And right here, add Google Meet video conferencing. I click Google Meet. And it automatically creates it for me. Notice right here. Even then, you can edit this meeting ID if you want to reuse a meeting ID if you want to. I would suggest against it, but it is possible. Okay. That's the basics of it. It's just clicking Google Meet. Calendar.google.com, by the way, if you have to go to your ljsd.com account and type Google Calendar. Now, I would here modify event. I would not have that on unless you know who you're inviting and allowing them to make changes to the event. I would leave it off. Invite others. This is if you're if you're the department head or the department administrator and you did not invite everybody, you would allow the others to invite the rest of the department that you may have forgotten. See, guest list is just for the guests. Notice right here that it says guests permissions. Is for the guests to be able to see who is attending or who may be attending, not necessarily that they did attend, as was the question posted earlier. Okay, so this is how you create one. I'm just going to hit save. And there's my Google Meet. And whenever I go to Google Meet, meet.google.com, It's here. Now it tells me that it's at 1:30 p.m. Q&A. All right. So the link, it's simply, I'm going to click on this one. The link is the one that is going to appear over here. There it is. Here is the link. You can provide that. Again, if you provide this, it will not take you to, it will allow anybody to join, excuse me. So this is not a good idea for students because they can't use any other account. And there's also the phone calling in and out. The right here at the bottom says join using a phone for audio. So before you even start, you would either dial in or have Google call you. And this helps, again, for the same reason as I said earlier. You are using your phone instead of using the computer's audio. The audio quality will be much, much better if you're using a phone. Okay. So meeting with students. Earlier, we started with asynchronous learning. The best option I would suggest is create an instructional video, then have the students watch it, and then meet with the students if they need questions answered. This is what I do, is I create the video, then I post that I'm going to be meeting with them at a specific time and day to join in if they have any questions. Okay, so I'm going to go to Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, you will note that on the top right, there's a curler donut or a gear icon. I call it a donut. This is no longer true. And you're going to notice that there is a Meet setting. I just need to click generate the link. And you can either have it available for students to view or not. So this is what I would do. If you trust your students, then just leave it open. And anytime you want to meet with the students, I'm going to save it. Then just click on that link, have the students join. Now, understand that right now, for example, the students cannot join until you join the meet. Right here, they will not be able to join until you join the meet. If you do not join the meet, they will not be able to join. Once the last student is out, you should be the last person out, in other words. Have all the students gone, kick out the students if needed. And so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show you how anybody can join through the link. That's why you should give the code instead. I'm going to have this. I'm going to open incognito window. And I'm going to sign in as soon as it lets me. Now, you probably cannot see my incognito window at the moment, but because I have too many windows open, it's not going to let me join. Oh, I guess it is going to let me join. So I don't even have to sign in. I can just ask to join. Okay. On my end, you're going to notice right here that it's asking me Mr. G wants to join in and is unverified. So from there, I can either deny or admit. That's why I am highly suggesting to not use those links because anybody can join, although you still have to admit them before they can join. Okay. But for this purpose, this training, I'm going to allow. There's going to be a slight echo, so I'm going to stop for a moment to mute.
Mr. Garza, we
Okay.
can't hear anything.
So once you allow them to join, they will show up here. And it's just taking a little while to join. I need to turn off the cameras to conserve bandwidth.
Mr. Garza, I don't know if you can hear me. Can
Okay,
you
so while
repeat?
this
You
is,
are highly suggesting.
let
You
me
were
see
cutting
if you.
off.
Okay, can you hear me now or not quite yet? Sound is lagging.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can hear you now. You were cutting off. We couldn't hear you.
Yes. Okay.
You're,
Okay. It's okay. But there's a way to remove students under people by removing this and remove from the call. Okay. So once you have removed everybody from the call, you can leave the meet. Okay, so let's see here. Asynchronous learning. There is a Google Calendar, but it is recommended not to use that as a way of meeting with students. The best way would be using Google Classroom, the actual link on Google Classroom. And at one point, there was a question. I have a student that is disruptive. What can I do for that type of situation? Okay. The way I haven't had that issue, but if you do have an issue similar to that, what I would recommend you is creating an assignment. The assignment will not be graded, ungraded. The due date will be the day and time when you are meeting, 1:30 p.m. The topic, that's just whenever you want to meet with them. I'm not sure how you use topics. I use topics as weeks. I don't use topics as topics. Google Q&A. We will meet at, even though I have it as the due date, I still type it in, May 5th at 1:30 p.m. And the link is provided on the classroom header. This right here, once I assign it, it gives me the due date and time. So it's telling me that it's over here. And this is something that you're going to have to talk to your students about ahead of time. The Meet link is right here. I will provide this information right here. This is when we're meeting, and I still have it right here when we're meeting. At that point, and I also forgot to include under the Stream tab, because they do have to click on the Stream tab in order to see the classroom header, to see the Meet link. Sounds tedious, but in order for, if you're starting to have problems with students, then this is the best option to have students who are disruptive join. If they're not able to join, if they're being disruptive, then the only thing you have to do is go over here, reset it, turn it off for a while, save it, kick the student out, and continue with class. So the link is not going to be there. And when they come back and try to click on it, it's not going to be available. And if they do the Shift Control T, or they try to refresh, it's going to take them to the previous one. It's the best option right now. Fortunately, classroom management is going to be different, and eventually there's going to be more ways of making this happen. For right now, this is the only option that is available, and I just hope that helps. Now, meeting with parents, and this is going to be a good one. Okay, so let me go back to some questions. Okay, so this is a message from Ms. Garza. Send an email to Mr. Hernandez, and he will take care of that. Audio and video freeze. On my end, it might happen once in a while. I hope it's not happening right now. A video lesson. Okay. That would be probably a training on how to use Screencastify, how to do that video training. This is a different
Mr.
training. Yes.
Mr. Garza, there's a question. Can 2 or more teachers be the admin of a Google Meet? When the teacher creates a meet for their students, some of my team members are invited as guests. Can they also be the admin?
Okay.
I guess co-admin.
That is an excellent question. And yes, let me address how me and Ms. Bettis did that. So what Miss Perez and I did is she gave me access to her account by creating a password that was going to be temporary. I use a website. Well, you can use any website like a random password generator, strong random password generator. And ahead of time, talk to them, generate the password, and tell them this is the password. Oh, I need to. Now, I would recommend something that is something like 16 characters. That's fine. Generate a password. And I would copy this password and send that password. I would change my password temporarily so that I can use her account or she can use my account. That is the only way that I can think of right now that can help for multiple people to manage one Google Meet. Now, this is something that it's only temporary. Do not give your actual password to anybody. As soon as you finish with this, reset your password back to the normal password. And this would be only temporary for that moment. Okay, so can Google Meet be done with kinder students? And I believe that question was answered. Um, Also, will kinder students get an
Yes,
email account? I'm sorry, say again?
we are doing it as per request.
Okay, so it needs to be requested. Okay, why do you type the link instead of saying
Yeah, we
where
said
it is? I'm sorry, say again?
no, the accounts. We've been setting up a lot of accounts. Teachers, principals were told that if they pre-K to second grade teachers wanted them, that all they needed to do was send us the rosters. Again, complete name, student ID, and date of birth. And I in the chat, email them to r.hernandez number 3 at lajoyaiz.net. He's the one helping me with that.
Awesome. Okay, so why do we type the link instead of saying where it is provided?
What link?
That can you elaborate on that question, since there's many questions difficult to keep track? I'll get back to that one later. Ms. Perez is saying that I'm using some feature right now called StreamYard. Yes, I am using StreamYard, and this is helping me do all of this. Can you do polls for students on Google Meet? That would be Google Forms. Same thing for taking attendance. You would create a poll, have the students answer the question, and that would serve as your attendance using Google Forms. Oh, going back to this one, make sure that you include the name, because sometimes we ask all the questions on Google Forms and we forgot to include the name as a question, and then we don't know who answered what. Okay. Real quick, if you have not checked in or checked out, make sure you do so. It's 11 right now, which means that you have 15 minutes to remote check in if you still haven't done so. Okay, so we already answered the one about students' emails, I believe. It's by request. Okay, so Ms. Perez has an awesome technique here, Mentimeter, poll everywhere, and quizzes if you don't want to use Google Forms. And they work also for student attendance. How can I see myself during a meet while sharing my screen? Okay, let me answer that question. The answer is you can't. Sorry. But there is a small preview window on the top right. So as soon as I get this meeting started, I can provide that. So let me click join. Okay. While that's going on, let me see if I have any other questions. Okay, Ms. Garza, they're asking for Mr. Hernandez email, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I've posted it a few times. It's in the chat. r.hernandez3 at
Okay, so,
lajoyaid.net. They just need to check the chat. I've put it on there a few times.
okay. All right, so at the top right, you're gonna see a small window that says you. And that small window, that's where you will appear. If there's no one in, then you can see yourself right here, but otherwise it's at the top. Where is it? Right there. Okay, let's see. The question is, do you have to check out? No, you do not have to check out as long as you check in. So if you haven't checked in, the link is at the bottom on the ticker.
There's
Screencast to parents.
no to check out. I'm sorry. I just want to, that was posted again. There's no need to check out. So long as you checked in on PDS, you will receive credit. We are not doing anything else, no other Google form or anything. You just need to make sure that you take care of that right now if you did not check in at the beginning. So go to your PDS account, use that code that is in the ticker right below the screen. So please make sure you take care of that right now if you didn't so.
Okay. So one of the questions right now is contacting parents. How do I screencast to parents? You can just make one on the fly if you know you're going to be talking to parents. And let me try to join in again, and this is going to take a while again. But one of the pretty cool things about this is that you can also dial out. So either you provide the link to the parent to join, or let's say that you're trying to host an ARD or a 504. This is the tool you should be using since you're going to be discussing personal information about a student. Then you need something that is SIPA compliant. As long as you're using ljisd.com account, all of the participants, as far as teachers, administrators, counselors, everybody should be on their ljisd.com account. The parent should be joining in via phone call. So you can ask them to call this number, or as a teacher, if you're doing parent contact logs, notice that under people, there's an add people section. And although you can send invites via email, to make phone calls, there's a call section. Now, when you're calling, it's going to do an out of RGV area code. So the parents may or not answer. I would suggest that if you're going to use this method, leave a voice message telling them that you're using the Google Voice feature that the school has provided, and that you will be calling again at a specific day and time. That way they know that you're going to be calling at that day and time. Otherwise, speak with your administrators as to how you're supposed to be doing the parent contacts. Okay. Can students contribute to what is being presented? Yes, anybody is. Let me close this window. At the bottom right, I'm gonna turn off the mic and camera. At the bottom right, there's this window, this portion that says present now. All students have that ability. So once you're finished presenting, you can have the student present. So any student can present. Here's the email again in case you need it. Okay, right now, Zoom is not recommended to use with students. So I cannot say anything about Zoom. From there, talk to your administration. Okay, so let me see what needs to be covered. Okay, so parent contact, I have talked about that. Awesome screenshot. There's some tools that you may want to use. There's Meet Grid is no longer required. If you go to change a layout, there is a tiled, and this will make sure that you can see multiple students at the same time. And there are tools like Awesome Screenshot that will take a screenshot of what you're looking at right now. But I would suggest against this if you're going to post it on social media. I would only do this if you're going to put it on the school website. So as far as screenshots, if you're going to put it on the school website, that should be okay. Capture visible part of the page. If you're going to put it on social media, please remember SIPA, FERPA, and all that protection alphabet soup. Not reactions. That's one that I didn't know about. It's awesome. Not reactions for Google Meet. And this is a new one that I found out. It's not new, but it's new to me. And one of the features that it has is raising your hand. So you can give a thumbs up or raise your hand in Google Meet. It's a feature that is added to the left, as you can see on this picture. So that means that everybody in Google Meet would have to have this feature in order for it to work. It's an extension. that needs to be added. Okay, so let me see if I have any more questions before we end this this training. Okay, so that is all I have for right now. We will have our Google Q&A later. It will be using the same format. I'm going to be hosting it. Miss Perez is going to be mainly doing the, I'm not sure why I posted that. Okay. Miss Perez is going to be the one doing the main event. I will be helping more than anything. Ms. Garza will also be with us at 1:30. So, by the way, Ms. Perez, I like how you added an emoji to your name. That's awesome. I'll try to do that next time myself. Okay, so it looks like I have questions now. Can you please repeat how to make... Okay, so this is all I have for today. At this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start answering questions. If your question has been answered, then by all means, have a nice day. You have 3 minutes to remote check-in if you still haven't. Okay, so let me start answering questions. Question is, can you please repeat how to make change appearance of students? I'm guessing that's in Google Classroom. Oh, okay. You're talking about the, I'm guessing here, the layout. Okay. Let me present my screen again. Okay. So the layout would be at the bottom right. There's a shish kebab right there, or 3 vertical dots. And there's a section that says change layout. This will allow me to, the best one would be automatic, which allows to show whatever is more important at the moment. If there's nothing being presented, then it'll show tiled. If somebody is talking, it'll be a sidebar, or there's a presentation, it'll be sidebar. If you want to conference with parents, they should join with link, not phone. Also, how do I screencast to parents? Okay. For parents, if there's something that you want to show parents, then yes, they have to do the link version, the one at the top. If there's nothing you want to show parents, then I would suggest calling them. I click on people, I click on add people, I click on call, and I enter the phone number of the parent. So if it's just a call, this is how I would do it. If it's to present if there's something you want to present to the parents, I would select I tell them to join using this link and click the present now. And you can either show your entire screen, which is recommended so they can see everything you're doing, or a specific window. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm using the A window option. So anything that I have on this window is being presented. Whenever I switch back to StreamYard, you're not seeing that because I'm using the window option, not the whole screen option. Okay. Let me see if I can answer this one. If you want to conference with parents, they should, okay, that's the one I just answered. Can I share my screen on Google Meet? Yes. If you use that present now, you can share your entire screen, a window, or a single Chrome tab. This is the only option you have for videos if you want to play sound. The other two do not allow for sound. Okay. Okay, so the other question is, will there be access to this video later? The answer is yes. The address that you have, so if you look at the bar on top, right over there, you see that there's an address says youtube.com/so on and so forth. If you click on that and copy that link, that's going to be the link that this meeting is being recorded. So it's being recorded on that same link. You can just save that link, bookmark it if you want to. Now, if you need a cheat sheet for Google Meet, cheat sheet, let me spell cheat sheet for Google Meet. Cheat sheet for Google Meet. Let me see how many times I can say that. Cheat sheet for Google Meet. Should be the very first one. And you click on download. And let me see if I can open it so you can see it. Cheat sheet for Google Meet. And as this thing loads, there it is. It gives you ideas. Here's the Google Calendar method. It gives you information about people. So here's a very simple cheat sheet for Google Meet. I'm getting better at saying it. I hope that helps as far as a step-by-step instruction. There is more information online. If you want more detailed instruction, we can do a one-to-one conversation. As far as the one-to-one conversation, here is my information. You can find me on chat, c.garza17. My email would be at lajoyaisd.net. But if you want to find me on Google Chat, it's c.garza17. You can find me on Twitter at edugugdroid. And I'm going to reveal my phone number so you can also call me in case you need help. Well, actually, you cannot call me to this number. You can send me a voice message and text me, and then I will get back to you. So if you call me, it'll work. It'll just send you to voicemail. So feel free to contact me. I will definitely get back to you and help you out with any of that. Let me see. Questions. And yes, you're awesome. I'm getting a lot of thank yous. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, especially on Teachers Appreciation Week. You all are awesome. Please know that, especially in these times, you're very much appreciated. The question is, allow sound. Yes, there is an option to allow sound. Okay. The only way to allow sound is if you have this option, a Chrome tab, and subtitle says best for video and, excuse me, caption. Best for video and animation. That means that it allows for sound. So this one, Chrome tab, which you cannot see because I'm displaying something. Let me hide it. Okay, so going back to it, the one that says Chrome tab. Can we log out now? You can, if you're set, we can log out now. I'm just answering questions to whoever still has any questions pending. Different question as far as Google Voice. Unfortunately, Google Voice is a paid service for G Suite users, which means that we will not have Google Voice as far as if you were one of the lucky ones that got Google Voice ahead of time, which, as you can tell, I was one of the lucky ones. If you were able to get Google Voice ahead of time when it was free, then you get to keep it for free. So if now, if you didn't get Google Voice at the time, then it is a paid service for G Suite users. It is still free for Gmail, but for that, you would have to contact your administration to see if that is an option. As of right now, I can say on my end, I would say no. Once that is dealt with administration, then they can give you an accurate answer. I use Google Voice because I have it for our district, and that's all I can say as far as that. And that's because I got it for free back in the day. Okay. This is a feature called StreamYard. You would not have this on StreamYard. I need to stop that ticker because it's already past the 15 minutes. So, okay, so going back to the question. The feature I'm using is StreamYard. So you would have to use this with your school account. Your school account does not allow for chat. And that's why I'm using a personal account. And because I'm using a personal account, I know that I have no student information here. So that's something that you got to consider. If you're going to be presenting on something that has no student information, no first and last name, then StreamYard with YouTube is perfect. If you're just presenting a lesson without the names of students, then also StreamYard is perfect. When it comes to students' names and personal PII, personal identifiable information, at that point, YouTube is not an option unless you have your school's permission. Something to keep in mind. Always talk to your administration before you post anything with students. I see a lot of thank yous. I'm just saying to everybody, you are so very welcome. Yes, even right now in the live stream, you should be able to pause and play. So excellent point. So this training, you can pause and play even as we're doing it live. Excellent point. So yeah, you can use Google Meet to call and not give your personal number. It just gives that weird area code that is not 956, so parents tend to not answer as a result. But just let them know you're going to call again at a specific time and tell them the service you're using. That way they understand that you're trying to call them as a result. Or maybe, who knows, maybe they'll answer because all parents are afraid of answering 956 calls right now from teachers, right? And it's a different number every time. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. You do not have to be in the Q&A unless you have a question. Anything related to Google for Education, we will be there answering questions, and it's going to be using the same format. So I would suggest, if you have questions, that is the best time to ask. We will be going through the chat as I'm going right now and answering questions. So it's going to be an hour and a half of a lot of educational information. You're welcome, everybody. You're awesome. Thank you for being here. Okay. Then that is all I have. I see no more questions. Ms. Perez, is there something you want to say?
The only thing is that I know that maybe we can do a part 2, and when we do a part 2, like just cover a little bit more of the best practices in the sense of how to use Meet. And I know that there's a lot of debate on, well, Zoom has these features and, you know, Google Meet has these other features. Why doesn't this? So we want to kind of, Google Meet is the official Meet platform for students in our district. So kind of just giving them tips on how to best use what we have with students, and just kind of do how to record a meeting, how to maybe incorporate Screencastify along with Google Meet when you can. So maybe we can pick that up on another date.
Awesome. Thank you. And as I mentioned before, you can always contact me or Ms. Perez if you have any questions. We're more than happy to help you. That's my info if you want a one-on-one meet. Ms. Garza, anything you want to mention?
Hi. No, it was good. It's a learning curve with this, but I think everybody got on pretty well. I think that it worked out good. We're just, I was looking at, they were doing the live presentations for Teachers of the Year and all that. So, no, I think it's good. I just, it's just different. I think we didn't have to worry about anything as far as like the overflow. I think everybody was able to get in. No, I think it was okay. It was good. This format, I guess it's good. And I think that it allows several people to be on and like present at the same time, right?
For the presenters, yes. For the audience, it's only asking questions.
Yeah, and that's fine. Because I think that that's what Google Meet, I think there was one of the teachers that wanted to see, can 2 teachers, co-teach, I guess, on Google Meet. Yeah, and well, that was a good
just out if your co-teacher in a Google Classroom, do you have the same privileges as the teacher does whenever you have Google Meet through the classroom, that link? So because you're a co-teacher, I'd have to test it out. I haven't tested that feature out to see if I have a co-teacher in my Google Classroom, will they have the same administrative rights as whenever we join together?
Sure. That is an excellent point.
Yeah.
So I know that another one that I think we need to spend a little bit more time is on how can you see your students, the different options, so that whenever you're presenting, you do want to make sure that your students are on task whenever you are presenting, because if you do present, you only see that full screen. You're not getting to see them. So there's like several options that you can do, like 3 options you can choose from to see your students, and kind of monitor the chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I guess people were just so used. There was people on Google Meet, but I don't know what link they were pressing. There was no link to go to Google Meet. But I guess they just went to Google Meet, turned it on, and I guess they were just waiting. I don't know what waiting room they were in or anything, so not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, that was kind of different, I guess. But no, I think, I mean, it worked out. I think that I don't know, what do you think, Miss Bettis, as far as, like, using this, like, for the trainings? I mean, I know we're not going to have an issue with Google Meet when we train the summer school teachers, because hopefully they'll be below the 250 um, mark for each different level. But I think that if we I created a Google Meets with my team teacher, and we added her students and mine, but she is added as a guest, so she does not have the same features I have. But yes, she can share the screen and present.
Yes, all anybody, your students can share their screen. Anybody that is in that Google Meet has that feature where they can show what they're presenting.
Yeah.
The only thing is, the privileges of the admin is that you can remove students and mute students. So that's, I think, more the feature that I think co-teachers really would like to have whenever they're joining a meet with another teacher.
True. There's another one here that said, StreamYard, will you have a separate training on StreamYard?
Now, StreamYard, yes, I can do that. If
I think right now, I think it's good, but I think right now we just need to stick to Google Meet for our teachers.
yes,
I don't think that we need to introduce something else, because then they're going to be maybe doing that instead of this. So I think maybe just Google Meet for now until we get back to normal, that we can do something else, because then who knows what Google will do with Google Meet on educators' accounts.
yeah.
So I think, yeah, I think that
is
we can have that.
updating a lot of the different features that educators are requesting. For the grid view just got added because it's a feature that Zoom had. So be sure to make sure that you let Google know the different features you'd like to see that help and support a question mark that's always on their platforms or apps. That is a great way for you to let Google know what features you'd like to see added. So that's another option. But like you said, it's a learning curve. There's going to be, features in another meeting platform that this one is not going to have. So what educators or teachers need to know is that this is the official platform that we use with students because of all the privacy laws.
Yep.
Excellent.
Exactly, and that's all covered. Yeah, and this one is a little different. Plus, I think you said you were using a personal account for this one, right, Mr. Garza?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm using a personal account because YouTube for ljsd.com does not allow for chat. And in order for me to have a chat, I need, in order for this to work, for people to ask questions, I need a chat.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Let's see. StreamYard. Yeah. Everybody's off, right? I mean, since we're talking, it's a separate link, though, right? Or you've already stopped.
We still have 111 people online. I'm not sure if they're watching, but we have 111 people online.
Okay, so maybe I could answer this one. It says, what was it? Oh, yeah, they need to register. Let me see. Yes. Register for the Q&A.
Lots of learning fun for the Q&A.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, I think that was it. Send a text message letting me. Oh, I guess people are responding to each other as well. No, I think that was really good. I mean, it's different, and I think this is good for like a huge, like when you're presenting something that you want to reach large audiences without them having to intervene and all that kind of stuff. Did you mute their mics?
I'm sorry.
Did you mute their mics?
They don't have access to
Mic?
mic. They'll just have chat.
Right, but like on here, did you automatically mute everybody?
No, they don't have access to talk. It's only chat.
Oh, okay, I see. It's just that's just the feature that it comes
Yes.
with when we're using this.
Yes,
That's
only
really
the
good. You don't
presenters.
worry about people.
See what that looks like, Carlos?
Yes.
Let me just try something.
Let me turn this off, and this time I'm going to share my entire screen. Except I'm not going to share the audio because then there's going to be a loop echo. So that's how it looks on my end.
Okay.
Now you see this inception effect because it's casting the casting of the casting. Right here, I have all these features. So here's my comments. Everybody is.
So this is what the participants would see. Do you see my screen?
You
I
have
see
to
your screen.
share.
Okay, well, I can see. Well, I see a screen.
Okay, I see you sharing something. Just a moment. Why can't I access it? There we go.
So that's what now can you
There's
see?
a librarian here, Miss Bettis. Sorry.
I just because for Q&A if we okay. So you get to see it now, right?
Yeah. So I'm seeing what you're presenting.
Okay.
And everybody else sees what
Yes.
is inside that little window.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, this is one of the tips that I was going to kind of give is that as soon as the teachers, have a little welcome screen. I know that a lot of people have been using their Bitmoji scenes to kind of set up their Google Meet, but this is also another option where they can have like a schedule set out for them. 5 minutes questions and answers about anything from the previous meet or assignments. 10 minutes on going over this week's slides or this week's information. And then again, designating a time for when the teacher is teaching and then wrapping up with questions if needed. But also giving them those reminders to put the audio on mute, video only for check-in whenever they first enter so that way you see them, and then to have their questions ready to be asked so that they know what they're going to want to ask or what questions they have from the previous meeting. So just something, a little idea for teachers.
That is good.
Okay. Well, if I'm gonna stop the recording if we are finished, and then we can just continue discussing after that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming by, and this is the end for this portion. And just a reminder, happy Teachers Appreciation Week to everybody. Goodbye.